All right, today we're going to jump into a book that completely changed how a lot of people think about money. Morgan Housel's bestseller, The Psychology of Money. So let's just kick things off with a big question. Do you think you have to be some kind of math genius to get rich? You know, a spreadsheet wizard or some Wall Street whiz kid? Well, the answer is a huge, resounding no. You absolutely don't. And that one simple idea, it flips most traditional financial advice completely on its head. It turns out what you do with money is way more important than what you know. Okay, so if it's not about being a mathlete, then what's the secret? House's big point is pretty simple. Finance isn't a hard science like physics. Nope, it's a soft skill, where your behavior matters so much more than your brain power. And this quote from the book just nails it. Our relationship with money, it's not logical at all. It's messy. It's emotional. Financial success has less to do with calculus and way more to do with how you handle powerful feelings like fear, greed, and, just plain old temptation. This really lays out the two sides of the coin, doesn't it? We're all taught that finance is this clean, logical world of spreadsheets and data. But the reality? The thing that actually drives our decisions is all this messy stuff. Our personal history, our biases, our greed and fear. And that brings us right to the next big idea, your personal money mindset. See, the book makes this incredible point that every single one of us has a totally unique view of how money works, and it's all been shaped by our own life story. I absolutely love this quote. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your personal experience with money is this tiny, tiny sliver of what's happened in the financial world, but it makes up almost everything about how you think the world works. Someone who grew up with nothing is going to see risk and reward completely differently than someone born into wealth. What looks totally insane to you might be perfectly logical to them, all because of their unique experience. Well, this is where luck and risk come into play. They're really just two sides of the same coin. Take Bill Gates. He got access to a school computer in 1968. That was like a 1 in a million shot. That's luck. But then you've got the flip side, risk. Gates had a friend, Kent Evans, who was just as brilliant, but he tragically died in an accident. The point is, so much of what happens to us is completely out of our control. All right, buckle up for this next one, because it's a huge mindset shift. Housel says getting rich and staying rich are not the same thing, not even close. They're two totally different games that require totally different skills. Think about it like sports. Getting rich is all offense. You got to take risks, be optimistic, be bold. But staying rich, that's all defense. It's about humility, being frugal, and having a little bit of paranoia, that healthy fear that you could lose it all tomorrow. It's pure survival. And if you want a perfect example of survival, look no further than Warren Buffett. Check this number. A staggering $84.2 billion of his net worth came after his 50th birthday. I mean, most of it came after he was eligible for Social Security. That's not just from genius stock picks. The real secret is the quiet, unstoppable force of compounding over decades. Well, and that's the whole secret right there. Compounding needs one thing above all else: time. So the most important skill isn't chasing the highest returns, it's just surviving. It's about being financially unbreakable so you can stick around long enough for that magic to really kick in. But just staying in the game brings up this dangerous psychological trap, the temptation to keep moving the goalposts. The book tells this cautionary tale about a guy named Rajat Gupta. He was worth $100 million, but he wanted more. He risked it all, broke the law, and ended up in prison. He just didn't have a concept of enough, which forces all of us to ask a really important question. What does enough look like for you? And that idea of enough leads us to another core concept from the book, the critical difference between being rich and being wealthy. And trust me, they are not the same thing at all. Housel calls this the man in the car paradox. It goes like this. When you see someone drive by in a flashy Ferrari, what do you really think? You don't think, wow, that person is so cool. No. You think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. See the difference? We don't admire the person, we just use their stuff as a benchmark for our own desires. So that's what being rich is. It's the visible stuff. It's high income, spent on fancy cars, big houses, all the things you see. It's loud. But being wealthy, that's the complete opposite. Wealth is hidden. It's the income you don't spend. It's the savings and investments that nobody ever sees. That is the stuff that's quietly working behind the scenes to buy you freedom and control. So here's the bottom line. Rich is loud, but wealth is quiet. The real goal shouldn't be to spend money to show people how much money you have. The real goal is to use money to build a life of genuine independence. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Mindset, risk, the nature of true wealth, but what's it all for? What's the end game? Well, that brings us to the final and honestly, the most important lesson in the entire book. And it all boils down to one simple word: freedom. And there it is. This is the whole point. The single greatest thing money can buy, the highest dividend it will ever pay, is control over your own time. Well, just imagine waking up every morning and being able to say, I can do whatever I want today. That right there is the highest form of wealth. Study after study shows that having that sense of control makes people happier than a bigger salary or a fancy job title ever will. That is the real return on your savings. It's freedom. And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? The purpose of building wealth isn't just to have more stuff, but to buy back your time, to purchase your own freedom. So the question I'll leave you with is a powerful one. What is your price for freedom?